We all can play a good game of chess on a good day. The problem is, unfortunately, it does not happen that often. In this video, I want to share with you the thinking process that you should use to play a great game of chess that you can be proud of on a consistent basis. What's up, chess player, and welcome to the Journey to Grandmaster, the place where you can improve every single aspect of your chess game. Today we play against Maya. Maya is a 1500 rated bot. Well, it actually has different levels, but I want to play against 1500 because it's roughly the average rating of the viewers of this channel. So you're gonna see what kind of challenges you get and how to solve it. Very, very important. So I'm gonna comment all of my decisions and I'm gonna play as black. Let's try to outplay Maya. Now I have tried to play once against it. It's very unusual. It's like not the normal chess.com bots we are used to. It's playing very creatively and I really like it. Let's see what's gonna happen in this game. c4, I'm gonna just play e6. Maybe we are gonna transpose into some kind of d4 lines. So in the opening, basically, you have three goals to achieve. You need to fight for the center. You normally don't want to give full control of the center to your opponent because who is controlling the center is controlling the flow of the game, and you really want to fight. That is why you're making those central pawn moves. The second goal is to develop all of your pieces as fast as possible and as active as possible. The golden principle to achieve that is one piece, one move. Don't move one piece twice before all of your pieces are developed, at least voluntarily, of course. Sometimes you have to do that, but in general, that is the goal. And the third one is to make sure that your king is safe before you are going for some active actions. Once again, those are like the golden principles. They work in 99% of the situations, but as always in chess, it's a game of exceptions. So on every principle I'm trying to tell you, I'm recommending you to use, you can find 1,000 examples where it would be objectively the best thing to do otherwise, or like Magnus Carlsen or Hikaru Nakamura are just crushing all of those principles, doing what they want, and they get successful with it. I understand, but first of all, you are not the engine and not Magnus Carlsen and even not Hikaru Nakamura, so there is absolutely no guarantee that such a strategy would work for you. In contrast, if you follow those golden principles, then in most of the cases it's going to be very, very useful and you are gonna outplay most of your opponents with it. It's like the first year in chess we try to learn and master those principles, those key general golden principles, and the entire life afterwards we learn how to break it. Like we learned that the knight should not go to the H or A file, but sometimes it's just objectively the best thing. And it's much more difficult to understand when that should be the case, when you need to do that, than to learn the principle that you should not do that normally. Okay, let's come back to the game. My opponent is playing bishop g5, and that is what I notice about playing against artificial intelligence. It really plays active chess. It's not trying to be as solid as possible. It's really going for some active chess. I'm gonna take here on c4 because, well, I still know that's the move you are supposed to make. You are taking this pawn on c4 and make it more difficult for the opponent to somehow finish the development. For example, here after the move e4, e3, it's not the best move because it allows this b5 idea. And you are putting even more pressure on the opponent. This is the key step of the strategy I want to share with you today. If you want to be successful in chess, under 2000, actually above, like all of the top players, 28, 2700 rated, they are using this strategy to outplay their opponents. The key step is to create as much pressure for your opponent as possible, to create difficulties, to pose challenges, to create threats, because if your opponent is under pressure, it's much more difficult for him to deal with all of these threats. He spends more time and yeah, the problems just grow and grow. On the other hand, if you are just making normal moves, you don't create any problems for him, then it's much more difficult for your opponents to play. That is one part of the strategy. Another one, which is just as important, every time your opponent makes a move, you absolutely have to acknowledge the ideas. Just stop for a second all of the thoughts you had previously and try to understand what's the point of his move. Like, of course, I would be happy to castle here, but my opponent is playing a4. He is creating a problem for me and I cannot ignore it. I have to play the move c6 and defend that pawn. it takes. I'm so amazed by the speed of Maya making those moves. It's like, I don't know, 5 times faster than with chess.com. It's playing so fast. Okay, knight e5, and so aggressive as well. I really like it. I enjoy playing against such an opponent. You can learn a lot when your opponent is attacking you, and you have to defend, you have to deal with those threats. Because, of course, it's a tremendously important skill in chess. So knight e5, like, the challenge is to understand all of the threats that your opponent is creating, not the most obvious ones. Like here, you might think, okay, the knight is coming to e5, maybe threaten knight takes f7, but no, I really protect it, it's not a problem, and you might castle and say, I'm good to go. But you really have to understand what has changed in this position. And when you are posing that question, you should think about two things. First, what the knight was doing on f3 that is not doing anymore, and what the knight is doing on e5, what it wasn't doing before. So on f3 it was controlling the d4 square, the d2 square, for example. That might be somehow important. In this case, rather not really. What is knight doing on e5? Well, it's creating a lot of pressure here, it's controlling a lot of those squares, but also now the f3 square is free and white can use it. And that is what has changed in the position. So if I just castle, then my opponent has the move queen to f3, and my rook is stuck here. I cannot really defend it. I have to lose a lot of material. My knight on f6 is also pinned. So I really have to be careful with it. What I don't understand, though, is why can't I just play bishop e7? What is wrong with that? Nothing is wrong with that. That's good. So now I can continue the development. I can just castle. But once again, I have to acknowledge my opponent's idea. I shouldn't think that, okay, he just wants to develop the bishop, that's all. No, I really have to think what is the point, and the point is to play bishop to f3 probably, and then my bishop is under attack, but I can protect it with my queen to b6, for example. By the way, that would also protect the pawn, because once he castles, my pawn on b5 is hanging. So I think I can castle here. Although what I have forgotten is once my queen moves, this knight on f6 would be hanging. And I mean, it's protected by the pawn, but he's gonna take it, and that would destroy my pawn structure. Maybe it's not a big deal, but I definitely have to take it into account. Okay, now the b5 pawn is really hanging, and I have a choice between taking the knight on c3 and just protecting the pawn on b5. I think that I like taking on c3 more. Even though I give up the bishop's pair, I win some time, and time is very important for me here in terms of finishing my development. So I guess I'm gonna do that. This pin is a little bit annoying. So if I have more time, I would rather be happy to play bishop e7 back, because then I don't have any pin, the knight can go to d5, exchanging those bishops. I don't know, but if I play a6, my opponent immediately plays bishop f3, the most active move, and then my bishop is hanging. If I play queen c7 or something, he can take on f6, take on b7, then play queen g4 check, king h8, queen h4. Maybe that's not a big deal, who knows? I can play bishop e7, then f5, and of course I'm also attacking that knight on e5. Yeah, but somehow that feels dangerous. Feels quite dangerous. I never want to give up this pawn on b5. Like, that's not an option at all, because then the c4 pawn is gonna fall and I'm just a pawn down. That's not what we want to do. Maybe a6. Maybe a6 and go for all of it. Yeah, the problem is I cannot really play knight d7. Why? Because he's gonna take it. Maybe I can. Queen takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, knight e4, bishop is yeah. I hope I'm gonna survive. Yeah, bishop f3 is coming. My opponent is like for 1500 rating. It feels amazing. Like if you're 1500 and you can play like that, I would definitely admire your play. Anyway, I have to deal with it. For me, it feels rather like, yeah, 2300, something like that, at least so far. So the knight is hanging. By the way, I have another way to deal with this threat. I can play the move rook to a7. Ah, no, I cannot. There is knight takes b5. By the way, knight takes b5 is a serious threat. If I play queen c7, You can also play knight takes b5. Then if I take back, rook takes a8, and yes, it's not such a huge problem, but I'm losing a pawn. That was the entire point of this variation, to grab a pawn. So what do? I have queen b6, but somehow my queen is so far away from the defense. I didn't want that. If I take on f3, he just takes it back, and then my rook is in trouble. I cannot play knight d7 because he takes, queen takes, and bishop takes f6, wins the pawn back. Yeah, then it seems like I have to play queen b6, but I'm not happy about it. Not happy about it. I really hope to bring my bishop back. It's fast. It's amazingly fast. Takes 4. Yeah, now my hope was to play bishop e7. Bishop e7, protect. Knight e4, I can even take it to avoid troubles. Oh wait, I could have also played knight to d7. What about that? What about that? I really wanted to bring my bishop back so that it helps here. Felt important, but yeah, maybe knight d7, bringing a new piece into the game was even better. Knight h6. My opponent is playing very aggressively, and it's really not 1500. Okay, but if I play king g7, is the idea to sacrifice the knight and play queen g4 check, king takes? And then, like, if you continue checking, it's not a problem, I'm gonna hide, but maybe you don't give any checks, you just play knight e4, or I don't know, f4, rook f3, rook h3, and play f5. Yeah, f5 is a good move. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen after king g7. And if I just normally play king h8, then the idea is queen h5, I suppose, attacking the f7 pawn. And that is quite annoying. I need to move my bishop again, like bishop d8. Yeah, pretty passive. So king g7, queen g4, king h6. Will my opponent checkmate me? Plays e4. I guess I can even still play f5. I mean, I have an extra piece now. All I need to do is save myself from the checkmate, so might as well sacrifice a pawn. Or maybe play knight d7 and rook g8. Yeah, let me play that. I mean, we leave only once, so let's do that. Okay, he's actually not sacrificing, he's playing queen h5. But in this variation, I like that my king is on g7 and not on h8, because the f7 pawn is protected. But it doesn't mean I'm out of danger, because, yeah, actually my opponent still wants to play f4, rook f3, and rook g3 check. That is not great. Maybe I have something like b4, attacking that knight, and if the knight goes away, then I have queen d5. I desperately want to exchange the queens. When the queens are off the board, then there could be no danger for my king. Although I immediately noticed the problem with this plan. If I play b4, knight goes away, queen d5, he takes it, and then knight f5 with a fork wins my bishop. I can go to b5 instead. b4, knight d2, queen b. No, queen b5 is also not possible because I have a pin over here. Yeah, I guess this bishop e7 move back is a problem. Knight d7 would help me to develop my pieces faster. Alright, I can play knight d7 here. I'm not sure it's fast enough. f4, I play f5, he plays rook f3, I play knight f6, attacking the queen, he plays rook g3 check. In h8, he plays knight f7, and I'm lost. Yeah, I think can easily be that I'm in trouble already here. Which is amazing. 1500. Okay, another plan is to play b4, knight e2, queen e4, and I want to play queen g6. In this case, I really should be able to exchange the queens. If he plays f4 and sacrifice his knight, I take on c3, rook f3, and I survive here. I have an extra knight, can even take on b2. But I think that's too dangerous. b3, king h8, maybe it's not such a big deal. Knight f7, rook takes, queen takes, yes. Okay, twice, checkmate is hanging twice. But actually I'm the first one here to create a threat. Yeah, I feel like b4 is my best chance. but I have a bad feeling about this position. So yeah, of course, it's not like I play perfect chess. It's not like I know everything in chess, and it's not like I never lose games. But I actually never expected this 1500 rated player to checkmate me. This video is brought to you by Chestnut. Chestnut is making amazing chessboards that allow you to play online from a real 3D board. They have high quality chessboards, nice looking chess pieces, so that you can enjoy and having fun playing it. Chestnut boards also have so many training functions that I absolutely love to use to my training, and it helps me to improve my chess every day. This is, for example, Chestnut Evo. I love to use it for my trainings, but they have so much to offer you depending on your preferences and your budget. And the best part is you can just use the promo code Journey to Grandmaster or click the link in the description to get a big discount on all of the Chestnut products. Okay, she does sacrifice a piece, but not in the way I was expecting, knight g4, because I thought somehow if she's only playing with 2 pieces, I should be able to deal with it. Shouldn't be enough to checkmate me. Still don't get it. Like, yes, queen h6 is a threat, and then f6 is hanging, but if I just play knight d7 and protect the f6 pawn, the check itself is not really that dangerous, and I'm still attacking the knight. Okay, I have to check taking the knight, queen h6. If I play king h8, then knight f6, my rook on f8 is hanging. So maybe I play king to g8. And now knight f6, I take it, queen takes, and I can just play queen d5 or something. Doesn't actually feel that bad for me. So this is very important in chess. You have to, like, of course, your opponent can play a great game of chess and you cannot do anything about it. But your task is to play the best you can. And to achieve that, you need, once again, to acknowledge your opponent's threats, and secondly, try to calculate the variations. Try to slow down. You never want to just believe your opponent on his board, like he's playing knight g4, leaving the knight under attack, so he knows that you cannot take it. Like, you don't need to treat him like a god that cannot make any mistakes. No, he's a real human being. Well, in my case, not really, but still, there is a good chance he might make a mistake, so you absolutely have to check it, you have to calculate. At the same time, you should not think that he's stupid and he's just blundering the knight and take it immediately. So you really have to slow down and think about your opponent's possibilities. The thing is, I don't really see any other moves, any other ideas, except for queen to h6 for white, because yeah, everything else is covered. Queen h6, like I take the knight, queen h6, king to g8, and now I don't have any other ideas except for knight to f6. Could be very well that I miss something, but I truly don't see it. Something like rook a5, but I don't know, doesn't feel to be that dangerous. Maybe it is though. Maybe it is. So takes, queen h6, king g8, rook a5. He's threatening to play knight f6, takes, queen takes, and then rook g5 is an unstoppable checkmate. But now I can just defend this pawn, yeah, with knight d7 or something. I'm gonna take the knight. If I lose, I lose. I mean, that's chess, that's normal. But I hope in every case that's very instructive for you. I don't want to lose though. Okay, just takes it. Wow, that's the power of artificial intelligence. Just to give up your knight and then to quietly take this pawn back, saying that, okay, now I'm going to continue the attack and feel free to deal with all of these threats. That's powerful. This is in a style of Michael Tal, for example. He was famous for these blind sacrifices because he had a feeling that something is going to be there. And seems like Maya also has a feeling that she's gonna have something here. I don't understand it. I don't understand why can't I just play queen e4, attack this knight, knight takes f6, like if you protect the knight, then I'm gonna just play queen g6, and if you take on f6, I'm gonna take it, you take it back, like you must take it back, and then I just play queen g6. The attack is more or less over. You just have one piece in the attack, the queen, and I have an extra piece. What's going on? Of course, as a big development fan, I really want to play here knight d7, but that gives another tempo to my opponent. Maybe he has something in mind here. Whereas queen e4 is more straightforward. It's attacking the knight. like forcing him to take on f6. But okay, let me be a reasonable human being. What if I just play knight d7? I even want to play f5 in some variation. This knight actually has no moves to go. It can go to e5, but I can just exchange it. That's never a problem. He plays e4, I'm gonna just take it. If he plays d5, I'm gonna just... Yeah, if I take it, there is rook d1, a little bit annoying. But maybe I still play f5. Oh no, he takes. Okay, maybe d5 is a problem. Because if I play queen takes d5, rook d1, and I have to go back, that's a little bit annoying. Still maybe not the end of the world. Frankly, I don't think it's so powerful for my opponent. I don't believe it can work that easily. Let me play knight d7 and see what is the entire idea behind it. Just rook b1. Okay. No, I start to believe less and less to it, because now I can play queen e4 without any problems. He doesn't have any knight f6 checks. So, like I said, you should not blindly believe your opponent. You should always try to understand the ideas. You should calculate the variations, really check all of those opportunities, checks, captures, and threats, the most active opportunities, both for yourself and for your opponent. So basically, this thinking system that I want you to use to play good games of chess on a consistent basis, it has two steps. First is to think what your opponent wants to achieve. So many low-rated players, like 99% of them, my students included, they make this mistake of just playing as if they are alone on a chessboard. This is a huge mistake. Please do not do that. And then secondly, on your side, always starting with the most active opportunities, trying to achieve the best. And of course, sometimes you're going to make mistakes. But if you are starting considering the most active opportunities first, then chances that you're going to miss something very good for you are much lower. For example, here, my opponent plays queen to h4. I absolutely have to acknowledge that move, not think like my opponent is stupid, he's just going back, the attack is over. No, I need to think what might be the threats of such a move. Maybe, by the way, I shouldn't have played queen to e4 and instead played queen to d5, now that I think about it, because then there wouldn't be a threat. The threat now with the move knight to h6 check, winning my queen. And also after queen d5, I would always have this idea of playing queen to g5. And now I have to play something like queen to g6 back. Although maybe not necessarily, maybe I can play king h8, just avoiding the check. But the problem is those pieces are hanging. What I like about the move king h8, then that rook to b7 is still not an idea. If I play queen to g6, then rook b7 is possible. If I play king h8, then I'm preparing, for example, rook g8, attacking that knight, why not? And rook to b7 is still not possible. Let me do that. Now I don't think anymore that there are any checkmating attacks. I just think that I am better here, but I still need to be careful not to blunder something, not to allow my opponent to create huge counterplay. Yeah, he's forcing me. I feel like I have lost a little bit of time with this queen e4 move. I can still play queen d5, but then I can play e4. I finally play queen g5. That's actually fine for me. Or I can simply play queen to g6, and then after rook b7, just protect that knight, rook d8. Or rook, yeah, any rook to d8. Let's do that. Let's not make any fancy moves, but rather play normally, play logically. Yes, rook b7 is a little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. I like the move rook a to d8, because I need to stabilize everything here, like play rook f to e8, defend this bishop, and then f5 finally would be a move. I really want to do it. Because once I stabilize everything, yes, let me make a move for my opponent, another opportunity is to play rook to g8, and the rook is pretty active here, but then I kind of never threaten to play f5, because the bishop is hanging. I might, of course, sacrifice it, but I don't really want to do it. Also, queen g5 like was one of my ideas that I can play here. All right, so what do I do here? If I play rook e8, I guess his idea is to play, or her idea is to play knight to e3, kind of preparing for my move f5, although I can still play it. Yeah, I don't really want to achieve that goal of playing f5. Yeah, that is why she plays that. But I can still do it. Takes. I like being on this knight. If it ever moves, I'm gonna happily exchange the queens. Maybe the idea is not taking on f5 and just play knight e3. I can take. Yeah, the rook is going to be opened. Still have some difficulties here. Maybe, yeah, queen g5 now allows f4. Okay, let me play f5. I wanted to do it for a long time. Not gonna stop now. Takes. This variation I actually like more for myself, unless I'm blundering something. Knight h6 I can always take on. What? No, wait, that's not possible. Knight f7 is nothing. I just play king g7. Yeah, that's... What? What am I missing? I have taken a queen, right? I don't get it. King g7. You have to take the queen back. No, you don't? Have I missed something in the chess science? Chess theory? What's going on? Why are you leaving my queen alive? Okay, you're gonna take on d7, and what? Imagine how cool it would be to play chess without ever having opening troubles again. What if I told you I could teach you all openings you will ever need in just 10 days? You get lifetime access to more than 110 pure value video tutorials, almost 100 practical tasks to apply your knowledge immediately into practice, 30 plus bonus videos to dive 10 times deeper, as well as private community where all questions you might ever have are answered daily. Get a $200 limited time discount with the link in the description and forget about all opening pain once and for all. Either I'm crazy or something is wrong here. Maybe that's the point about the artificial intelligence. Sometimes it makes nice creative moves, but sometimes it's going crazy. And I guess this is the later case. Yeah, I have a choice between queen h4 defending the bishop or queen f5 defending the pawn on a6. Not sure which one is more important. But winning no matter what. Yeah, I mean, queen f5 is enough. Because rook takes, I'm just taking here on d8 just to get rid of this knight. When you have, by the way, when you have some extra material, it's really great for you to exchange pieces, because the more pieces you exchange, the more simpler it gets for you to win the game, to convert your advantage into a full point. Now I have like a queen against the rook, that's more than enough. Yeah, that strategy of my opponent was very creative, I have to admit. At least in the beginning, I was really scared to get checkmated. And also, like, when your opponent is making the moves so fast, psychologically, it's intimidating. But of course, it's not a human being. Like, if a human being would play that, you would think, okay, that's a cheater, just sacrificing all of those pieces, going for a checkmate. A normal human being cannot play like that. But an AI bot can. Okay, how do I win this position? I guess I win that c3 pawn. That should be the solution. a6 pawn is very difficult to promote, but this one is already pretty strong. Okay, we all take pawns, but I guess it's more important that I create this passer now. Yeah, maybe I play just rook c8. Golden rule of any rook endgames: put your rook behind the pawn, not in front of it, because the further the pawn will go, the stronger the rook becomes. First, I need just to hide in the corner. There are no danger on that rooks. Okay, c2. I guess it's time to resign. No, not yet. Queen e2. Rook e2. Another queen. Yeah, let me finish it fast for you. And finally, that's a checkmate. So I hope this game was really instructive. You have seen what to do when your opponent is so aggressive and what mindset you should have. You should not trust blindly that your opponent is seeing everything, even if it's like higher rated than you. Still, we're all human, we all make mistakes, even the machines make mistakes. So you have to always check it. You have to respect your opponent, but not blindly trust. You have to think about two main things: what the opponent wants to achieve, how to deal with it, whether it's dangerous for you, and what are the most active opportunities, how you can create pressure on your opponent, because that's ultimately your goal in chess. Make life hard for your opponent, and then chances are much higher he's gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna outplay him and win more games. How to outplay your opponent if he's stronger than this one? Well, in this video, I'm showing you how I used this specific decision-making process to beat a real grandmaster in a classical chess in a very important game, and you can learn so much out of it. It's a very instructive game. I recommend you take a look at it.